I'm from New Zealand, I live in Europe, and I work for a US tech company. Let me tell you more about how I ended up in this situation, how I get paid, what the heck is up with taxes, and how this international remote role works for me. I've been working remotely for more than 6 years now, and I found that this is something that people are often really curious about because it is a bit complicated. I got a ton of questions when I asked on Instagram what people wanted to know about this. So let's jump in. First up, visas. Do I need a US work visa to be doing this job? And the answer is no, I don't, because I'm not actually employed by a US company. While I am very much like part of the core team at ConvertKit, I am not an employee. I'm hired on a contract basis. I believe there are some US tech companies that do create company entities in like UK, Germany, or like other European countries, and they'll hire people in those countries as employees of those business entities, if you're following me. But that's not how it works for me. I'm on a contract to be paid a certain amount per month to do work for ConvertKit. Although, like I said, I do operate very much as a core team member. I'm in all the team meetings, attend team retreats. I am a part of the team. I'm just not an employee. And you do not need a US work visa to contract for a US company if you're doing that work from outside the US. And as for being a New Zealander living in Spain, I'm actually also part British. I have a British passport and I moved here before the UK did the very stupid thing of pulling out of the EU, and I have my residency card for here in Spain. How am I paid and what currency am I paid in? So I submit an invoice to ConvertKit every 2 weeks for them to pay my business. That invoice is in US dollars, so currency exchange rates do impact how much I actually receive in any given month. That's like one of the risks that you take on as a contractor for a US company, but given that what a US company will pay for someone in my role compared to a company that is based in Europe, it's like a risk that I'm willing to take on. And just a tip, make sure you're subscribed to my channel because very soon I have coming my latest income report video where you'll get to hear exactly what it is that I earn. So then, what about taxes? This seems to be the number one thing that people want to know about. So I don't pay any tax in the US because I am not a UX tax resident. I don't live in the US, I don't work in the US, I'm a contractor, and part of being a contractor means handling your own taxes. When you're an employee, I believe in most countries it works like this. Tax is taken off your paycheck before you receive it, and like the company pays or at least like holds those taxes on your behalf for the most part. But when you're a freelancer, self-employed, a contractor, you need to manage taxes yourself. So I'm paid a like full amount from ConvertKit, and I have to make sure that A, I save enough of that to pay my taxes, and B, that I pay the correct amount of taxes for where I live. Because of how complicated tax laws can be, and especially here in Spain, I have accountants to help me with that, which makes it easy. You just have to keep good records and remember that you can't spend everything that you earn or you're gonna be in trouble when it comes time to pay your tax bill. Taxes work very differently in every country, so my advice if you're in a similar situation is to find an accountant. It is worth paying for their services to make sure you get it right because it is your responsibility to pay the right taxes and not the responsibility of the company that you're contracting for. Do I get benefits? So someone asked if I only get 2 weeks vacation time because I work for a US company, and someone else asked about health insurance too. So this completely depends on the company and how they want to handle it. But ConvertKit gives me pretty much the same benefits as the US employees get for the most part. Sometimes they're just handled a little differently, like I get an additional stipend to pay for my own health insurance, whereas the US employees get insurance like through the company, as is pretty common in the US. But there are some things that a US company cannot give to a contractor, like they can't pay for your equipment, for example. A contractor needs to provide their own equipment to do the tasks that the company is contracting them to do. Someone also asked if ConvertKit pays for my electricity bill, and no, they do not. And I get 4 weeks vacation time, which is the same as the US employees get. Collaboration and time zone differences. So I don't have to work strictly US hours. Since ConvertKit is fully remote, we do a lot of things asynchronously and we're just like trusted to get our work done. But I do need some amount of crossover with the US time zones since that's where most of the team is based. And since we're mostly split across like North America and Europe, meetings tend to happen in the US morning time, which is the afternoon here in Europe. I don't end up working 9 to 5. I'm more like noonish to around 7 p.m. in the evening. I would much prefer to end my workday earlier, but working a little bit into the evening, having that like workday shifted a little bit later is absolutely worth it for me to get to earn the US level of income. And lastly, how the heck did I get this job in the first place? Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I don't have like a secret hack that can help you land a role for a US-based company as an international person. I got my job essentially through networking. I was speaking at a conference and I met our CEO Nathan there. He was looking to hire a designer to work on marketing things. I'm a designer who works on marketing things. It just worked out, but I know that that is absolutely not relatable, not something you can emulate, so I'm sorry. Even though remote roles now are a lot more common than they were 3 years ago, unfortunately, many companies still only hire within the US, either because they're not good at working asynchronously and they want to like make sure people are working in a US time zone, or perhaps they just don't want to have to deal with hiring contractors or setting up a foreign entity of the company. I don't know, it is a shame though, because there's a lot of talent around the world. My advice to you, if you live in Europe and you want to work for a US company, is to just really keep looking for opportunities, because they do exist. Filtering to worldwide on Remote OK job board can be a good way to find them. Keep your ear to the ground, you know, get involved with the community, do some networking yourself. But I also recommend just focusing on leveling up your skills and making yourself truly an expert in your field, because global remote jobs have a lot of competition. You can expect that any job you're applying for will have hundreds, if not thousands, of other applicants as well. So you can stand out if you can really showcase your talent and show that you are the right person for the job. If you want to learn more about the work that I do at ConvertKit, then go watch this episode of my podcast Inside Marketing Design, where myself and David, the senior brand designer on my team, we talk about our work, our processes, our projects. I am very grateful to have this job. I love what I do, and I'm grateful that I get to share my work with you too. So thanks for watching.